it was the Army my whole life, and I wanted to be a Green Beret, Special Forces. So it got into high school when I was a freshman in high school, and a buddy came up to me and he was like, "So what are you doing whenever you get out of high school?" Because I was in what you call Naval Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. It's NJROTC for short. It's like a little military program that's in high schools and other military schools, things like that. But he came up to me and he was like, "You're an ROTC. Are you gonna join the military after high school?" I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah. That's what I've wanted to do my whole life. I'm gonna join the Army and I'm gonna be Special Forces." And well, he was like, "Why Army? Why not the Marine Corps?" And I was like, "Well, man, I have no idea what the Marine Corps is." So I decided, I'll go home and Google some stuff and watch YouTube videos comparing the Army and Marine Corps. So before that, years before, my uncle also asked me, he's a true American, he was like, "Why don't you join the Marine Corps?" And I didn't know what it was. I didn't think about it at the time until my friend asked me. So I'm sitting there watching the videos comparing like Army basic training to Marine boot camp, and the Marines are so intense and they're like hardcore. It's something that it just got to my mind, and I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. So from there on, I changed it from the Army to the Marine Corps, and that's how I got it to the Marine Corps. So who got you inspired to join the military, and what was the name of your general, or is it captain? I don't know. Okay, so that's a very interesting question. Nobody actually inspired me to join the military. Something in my mind said, this is your fate. This is what you're gonna do. You're not gonna do anything else. This is what you're gonna do. So, like I said earlier, since I was 4 years old, I was thinking, hey, I am gonna join the Marine Corps. I am gonna join the military. Hey, I appreciate that logic. Appreciate it. Sorry, my daughter's trying to type on the keyboard. But wow, this song is distracting. It's all good. So I don't know the name of my commanding general. I have no idea what his name is. But I have several captains. It's called the chain of command, so you start from the bottom, which is pretty much where I'm at. It's the enlisted guys. So the privates, private first class, lance corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant is where it stops. And those are called, well, hold on, let me rephrase that. So private, PFC, private first class, and then lance corporal, those are junior Marines. Those are the true working class Marines. And then corporal and sergeant is the non-commissioned officers. So they're not officers. They don't have the college, unless you did go to college but you decided to enlist instead. But they're, in charge of those lower ranks. And then you go to staff sergeant and above, and then it hits officers. So it's like second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, and then so on. At the moment, I have a captain called Captain Mulcahy. Pretty good guy. He's been to combat as an enlisted Marine. He several times deployed to Afghanistan, Iraq, and he's been on different deployments all over the world. So I have a lot of respect for him. But yeah, it's an interesting lifestyle. If you want, you can ask me more. I'll answer anything. Oh, she's laying down here. Look at this. Isn't this cute? She's rubbing my arm. Hey. So what happens? Have you? Hold on. Let me fix the chat box. Let me fix the chat box real quick. Chat box over the webcam. So what weapons have you have you experienced with, or do you have experience with? Okay. I have experience with the primary weapons. First, I started off with the M16A4. So it's the 4th generation of the M16.
I'm 12 years old.
Hey, Logic. Awesome, man. I appreciate the follow. You like my new Twitch alerts? Pretty awesome, right? He's now a follower of Christ. Anyways, I started off with the M16A4, and I got to what you call the fleet. So it's when you're actually in the Marine Corps, like you're actually working. You're done with your basic training and all of your other job trainings and whatnot. You still train a lot in the fleet, but it's not the basic stuff. Anyways, I shot the M16, and then whenever I got to the fleet, I shot the M4A4, and then I've shot a 50 cal, I've shot an M20, I've shot a noob tube, whatever you want to call it. Hey, how's it going, CRF Stuar? Alright, Stu, how's it going, Stu? Anyways, the fun dude, 21. Johnny on my dick. Nice song. Cool beans. Anyways, I've also shot other weapons out of the Marine Corps, like 30-06, 308. Weren't you in Wayne's stream? I don't know. I watch random streams every now and then, so I might have been. What training did you go through, and which ones were very difficult? I've done a lot of training, man. Constant training. So, difficult ones like Bridgeport. So in Bridgeport, California, Northern California, is cold weather and high altitude training up in the mountains. I was up there at 16,000 feet elevation, 18 feet of snow. That was tough. We were training with Army Rangers. They were fighting against us with blank rounds and stuff. So that was tough. It was fun. But hey, it is what it is. I've also gone to 29 Palms. 29 Palms is also in California. It is the Mojave Desert. I'm sure you know a little bit about that since you're in California. It gets hot there. I think the hottest it was there while I was there was 138 degrees. I have a Snapchat picture of me. It says 138 degrees. That was hot, but it's really dry heat. Now, whenever you start getting into humid heat or humidity, that's whenever it starts getting, crazy. Hey, the fun dude. Hey, I wasn't expecting you here either, but thanks for joining. I'm appreciating that you're watching. Hey, Stewie. Yeah, it gets intense, man. It gets intense, but it's good training. You're afraid of heights? Yeah. So I joined the Marine Corps with very bad, I was afraid of falling. It's not necessarily heights that I'm afraid of. I was afraid of falling from heights, or like, you know. And your training through boot camp gets you through all of your fears, and it sucks. It's scary, but you push yourself to say, "Hey, I want to be a Marine, and I'm gonna face anything that I am afraid of." And that's what it is to be a Marine. You have to be able to man up or woman up, whatever, and say, I'm going to face my fears, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to become a Marine, and I will be a Marine. Now, I've dealt with some stuff like flying in Ospreys from like one ship to another ship. That's some scary stuff. I'm telling you, it's cool. It's really cool. You don't get to see that very often, but it's some scary shit, man. I'm telling you. Whenever that Osprey's like flying straight, and all of a sudden it hits like that, it gets really scary. Have you lost any friends in the Marine Corps? Yes, I have. Unfortunately, most of the friends that I've lost in the Marine Corps were from suicide or vehicle accidents, and in one case, apparently it's still an ongoing case. He was, murdered. I've almost lost friends in combat, but I wasn't there with them. So, that's the hard thing about it. I remember when I was in high school, one of my buddies joined the Army, and he came back because he had graduated 2 years before me. He came back in his Army combat uniform, and he was like, "Hey man, how's it going?" I'm like, "Dude, it's been so long since I've seen you." I gave him a hug. I was like, "How have you been?" He was like, "Dude, it's rough, man. I just came back from Iraq." And he pulled off his cover, or it's a hat, but we call it a cover in the military. And he had like shaved parts of his head and like stitches. And he's like, "I still have mortar fragments in my head." And he had like burn scars on his arms from getting hit by a mortar. Or no, IED, sorry. But it is a mortar. They used a mortar for the IED. So it's some crazy stuff. Like, I've never experienced anything like that myself in the Marine Corps yet. I don't know if it'll ever happen one day. It might. Who knows? That one guy. So I have another thought of joining the Marines, but I looked over it because I am very afraid, but I still have it in my mind. And would you recommend me doing it? Okay. So that one guy. That's a great question as well. Yeah. So here's my thoughts about you joining the Marine Corps. I'm not here to recruit anyone. I'm not here to say you're gonna join the Marine Corps, or do you want to join the Marine Corps, or like tell you all these crazy good stories about how I'm a Marine and trying to convince you. That's not what I'm here to talk about. It's just my experiences and other things and whatnot. 1 second, guys. I gotta grab my daughter, and then I'll continue the conversation. Come here, baby girl. So, I believe that if you really, really want to join the Marine Corps, you should do it. If you're having thoughts about it, look into it. Look it up. Go on YouTube. Watch videos about the Marine Corps. And think about it. Think about it in your mind. Because if you don't want to do it, don't do it. There's no point in risking your life or doing something that you don't want to do just because you think it might be cool, even though you may not want to do it. It's just going to be a waste of 4 or more